Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Welcome back to another Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. I am Jeff, and with me today, as always,
Jana. No.
What? Sorry, what was your name again?
Jana.
And hey, craziness is about to happen because we are on the verge of the World Series. The NLCS and the ALCS, both pretty interesting. And we wonder if something that happened this year will buck the trend of other times this happened, or if it will fall right into place. So we'll see all about that. Before we get going, remember you can find us on our social media, on Twitter and Blue Sky. We're at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And of course, our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. Check out the Fanatics link to get your favorite gear, especially playoff time, championship gear, or, support a team that didn't make the playoffs this year. Whatever. It's up to you. Just do it through our link at siblingrivalrybb.com. Hit the Fanatics link at the top of the page. All right. So normally, and we will discuss what I'm about to talk about in more detail after the World Series is over. But got to throw this out. The Angels, we know, looking for a new manager. We mentioned that. Along with a few other teams. Like the Dregs, their manager decided to retire all of a sudden.
Yeah, he was done.
He's like, just that. And lots of questions about that. And we'll talk about that when we talk about managerial openings and that. But Albert Pujols was said to be the front runner for the Angels. And some of it was probably tied into the fact that he has a personal services contract with the Angels for like 10 years. So we're, 8 years left on this. And so there was talk about that everything was going good. Perry had gone to St. Louis to talk with Tio Alberto, and it seemed like it was all moving along pretty well. And, of course, a lot of people are like, I don't know, Albert's good, but I'd rather have Torrey Hunter and rather have that. And then one day, all of a sudden, Albert Pujols is no longer in the running, nor is Torrey Hunter. Now, we never really heard much about Torrey Hunter. We heard more about Albert. And then what it sounds like is they couldn't come together on contract details, which is probably connected to the fact that Artie wanted him probably to work for at least more like just take this personal service contract, we'll turn it into that, and you work for the $1 million a year.
Right.
Or maybe a little bit more, but because Albert figure the two top managers in payroll, Dave.
Yeah.
And Craig Counsell.
They
both Dave makes a little bit more now since his extension's going in this year, but they both make around $8 million, slightly more for Dave. And I think Craig's right at it. So I don't think Albert was saying, pay me $8 million. I think, but I think it was like, I'm not going to work for $1 million. I also think there was something else thrown in there because we found out that they finally did hire somebody, a former player as well, a former Angels player,
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Suzuki,
Yes.
which I'm not against. I felt like just watching him play someday, and he's a catcher. He was a catcher. He became Shohei Otani's everyday catcher while he was there with the team. Um, that wasn't necessarily a bad move, but then we find out he's only got a 1-year contract. Now, normally you're going to sign a new guy to a couple-year contract. And if he doesn't work out or something goes wrong, you just eat that 1 or 2 more years if you really have to get rid of him. But you got to give him a chance, like they didn't do for Wash, and like Perry Manassian didn't like how Joe Madden did things, so he didn't stick around long either. But you figure they were talking about the revolving door in San Diego this last few years. Joe Madden, Phil Nevin, Washington, Ron Washington, Ray Montgomery, even for that
Mm-hmm.
matter. And now Kurt Suzuki's the 5th one in a short amount of time.
What I thought was interesting is Perry Manice. He has 1 year on his contract as well, and he said we're tied at the hip.
Exactly.
So seems like, yeah, this is going to be happening again next year.
And I wonder if they didn't tell Albert, take 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll see. Now, there's a couple of things. Number one, I think it's more tied to the fact that Perry is a lame duck. September 28th, 2026, actually, September 27th, 2026, will be Perry's last full day as the Angels GM because he's going to get fired on the 28th.
Yeah.
But the other thing that has been mentioned, not only by all of the so-called Angels experts with their blogs and stuff and other podcasts, but a couple of Angels, like more insider type, guys from the Athletic. I think even Jeff Fletcher from the OC Registers kind of hinted at this, is that the 1-year contract may very well be connected to. Most people think that on December 1st, or technically, I guess, December 2nd, at midnight, a lockout of 2026, there will be a lockout because they won't have a new contract already. And the new CBA expires on December 1st, 2026. And why have and they think it's going to be a protracted lockout, which, hey, that's great because, this year attendance is better than it's ever been before. It's all gone up. And people are excited about baseball right now. So let's have some sort of a work stoppage.
Yeah, sounds like a really good idea. I think
That
that's
is the
perfect.
MLB way. And we can't blame that just on Manfred because they've done it before. Manfred was the commissioner. So anyway, they think that will be one reason why that Artie would only agree to 1 year, is because why pay somebody next year? Because managers are not the players. The players they don't have to pay.
Right. The one thing that I wonder too is the Angels are currently being sued by Tyler Skaggs. Is it the Angels, right? Are being sued?
Yeah, no,
The whole organization
is being
sued by the Skaggs family for wrongful death.
Right.
And I have been reading about that. And the Angel organization, like the front office, is really odd. Like the HR person testified today and couldn't say if, sleeping on the job was bad. But the reason I
Well, I
bring
guess
this
it
up,
depends on what job you have. I mean,
yeah,
Mike,
I-
wake up. There's
that's
balls
right.
coming to you in right field.
The reason I bring it up is because they have this trial. They don't know what the verdict is going to be, but if they're found guilty, then they're going to have to pay out quite a bit of money. So Suzuki is already a special assistant to the GM.
For
So
3 years now.
for 3 years, right? And so I'm wondering if they were kind of looking at how can we, it's like you have a job title and then they say, oh, but by the way, we also want you to do this, but you're not getting a pay raise.
You're I know this isn't you, but it'd be like for you. You're a high
Yeah.
school English teacher,
Mhm.
and we also need you to be a groundskeeper.
Right. Yes.
Can you go out and make sure the football field is ready for the game on Friday night?
And you have to do it during your student prep or, when you
During your
have
free
time.
pad or, or in
Yeah.
between classes. Yeah, you don't have
Yes.
any extra time. Just when your free period is
Right.
or your lunch.
Yeah, or both.
Whatever, or both. Probably going to need both because, the field took a beating last week, just like our team.
Right.
And so we're going to need you to, there's something to be, and you know what, as far as that goes, I can't say, everybody's like, why would Suzuki only take a year? I think Suzuki knows how the inside works.
Well, he's
He's
been
been
there.
for 3 years. He's seen it.
Yeah.
And he probably is like, let me go be, how much worse can I be as far as, what happens with this team than anybody else? If I win one more game than anybody else did, I'm better. So
Yeah.
anyway, so what? I don't even know. It's just
The thing about the Angels is they really don't have a bad team. There are good players. But if you have no consistency and you're constantly, well, change this, change that, we're going to do this. And for all we know, for, some of the guys that are relievers could be, hawking the hot dogs. They could be, oh, hey, you pitch what, 7th, 8th inning. So one of the guys called out that sells hot dogs, so go up there and sell hot dogs. That's kind of how I feel about the organization.
maybe, but see those guys, the guys who pitch at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So like Kinley,
Yeah.
we're going to need you to go up there and sell beer.
Yeah.
That cuts off at the 7th, 8th inning.
Oh, right. That'd be
So
perfect.
you'll be ready for the 9th.
Right.
So just take this as a little extra warm-up time.
Yeah. But don't go in the weight room because there's no air conditioner.
Right. And we'll talk about that, and we'll
And
talk
all
more
of
about what's going on in Santa Ana, where the trial is taking place.
Yeah.
And that couple weeks.
Yeah. But we did
after
have
the
to bring
World
that up
Series. But
because
it had to be said because it is pertinent to what we do here. We talk Angels, we talk Dodgers, we talk. Those are our main teams.
And it wasn't, the Angels were not going to wait until after the World Series to announce this because they have some days between when the series starts. So it's like, hey, look at us. We hired
Take
a manager.
That, Dodgers.
That's right. Look at us.
We got a new manager.
Yeah,
And
for
we're
the
reigning-
50th time.
We're cutting in. We're cutting in on your time.
Yeah, really.
We're gonna
Shift
everybody's
the
gonna be
focus.
asking, and kind of because
Mhm.
a lot of people, I was listening to MLB radio, and they did, yes, hey, we're gonna break down the World Series, but first,
the Angels have a new manager.
Right. And why would you do this and why that? And of course, that's their job to do all that stuff,
Right.
break it down. And we're going to do that too. But we'll actually be able to say, instead of sitting around speculating on why, which I think we all know why. Artie's cheap.
Yes.
Perry's got one more year.
Mm-hmm.
And Kurt may do such a great job that the next guy coming in may say, let's keep up with this.
Yeah.
Let's not just, here. I think if Artie likes what he's doing, or Kurt is gone and Albert's back in the running next
Maybe.
year, if he
Well,
doesn't have another job, because from what I understand, he went to San Diego
mm,
to interview for that job.
yes, in San Diego, and I also heard Baltimore. Maybe.
I heard that Baltimore was probably more Albert
Mhm.
putting out there that he's
like
interested
feelers.
in it
Mhm.
than
Them
Baltimore
interested.
necessarily interested in
Well,
him.
the other thing, they had the press conference and Artie Moreno was not there.
No,
Because why would you be if you just promoted an employee? Whoopie do.
Well, right, yeah, that's just like saying, okay, Jana, you're moving from your position, you're now the vice principal.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Are we going to have an assembly for this? Are we going to invite out the public?
Yeah.
No.
Not even cake.
And I don't know. He has shown up. Artie showed up at the trial a couple different times, but from what I understand, he pretty much got up and left after opening statements.
Mm.
And I don't know, and I haven't read. If you read The Athletic, you can see some good stories. Sam Blum has been following it for them,
Yeah.
and he does take note of those things. So we'll see what's going on there. We'll talk more about that, but we'll give the World Series its due.
Yes.
So with that, let's go see if what you said is really true. The playoffs are different than the
Yes,
regular season.
they are. And I think we saw that in this game, in
Let's
this
go
series.
to the
Yes.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
All right, so the Dodgers take on the Brewers. The Brewers being the number one seed in all of the playoffs.
All of them.
That's right, had the best record. No teams, more teams lost 100 games than won 100 games.
Mm-hmm.
Because two lost 100, the two that you would think, the White Sox, and of course, the Rockies. And it's kind of funny because something that we'll talk about when we talk more about the World Series actually involved the Rockies as one of the instances, which is kind of funny because you never think about them in those terms.
Right.
Now, anyway, so the Brewers, as we know, went on a long stretch, won a lot of games in a row, cost a place, and of course we never got an answer, and probably now they wouldn't even bother to answer us.
Yeah, they never responded. I reached out to find out what was going to
I
happen
don't even
with
remember the name
with
of
the
the
hand.
place
I
now.
know, that's I'm like, forget you.
George Jones. No,
George Jetson. No,
George Jetson. Well, and then I thought he stopped eating here today. George Jones.
Right.
George Webb.
Yes, George Webb. Yeah, I did reach out because I wanted to find out if the Brewers went on to win the World Series, what would be the promotion. And I don't know. They just didn't answer. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they hadn't thought that far ahead.
Somebody that could have said, we're working on it.
Or they looked at our podcast and were like, you're a Dodgers fan. There's a Dodgers fan on here? No way. I'm not answering you.
Maybe.
I don't
never know. I would have thought they could at least been,
Yeah, something.
I thought Midwesterners were supposed to be, nice. And
I thought so. But I think I don't know.
Anyway,
Maybe.
So they cost, the Brewers cost them a lot of free hamburgers. I That would be a question I'd like to know, and would have been nice. How many free hamburgers did they give out?
Right.
That would have
Yeah,
been
how
interesting.
many people take them up on that offer? That's the same thing like these teams that all teams have some kind, they 7 strikeouts or 7 or more runs. Even the Isotopes here, in Albuquerque do that with Chick-fil-A. So,
Well, and like, yeah, they have the Angels had a thing with Chick-fil-A. I think it was
mhm.
six runs or more, and you got a 6 count nugget. I don't
Yeah,
something like
something
that.
like that.
But the Dodgers had a thing with McDonald's. If they scored more than 6, you got a free 6-piece chicken
Oh yeah.
nugget.
They have things with everybody.
So
I mean, so you could eat lunch and dinner
yeah,
on the Dodgers.
yeah, nope, you could. You can go to. I think the other thing they had something with Panda Express.
Yeah, saw that.
So they
But
had a lot. So you didn't have to, and you don't even have to eat the same thing every time,
right. Mhm.
thanks to that. So anyway,
We digress.
they often the so the Brewers, and we talked about this. They played the Dodgers in like July,
Right.
but regardless, they swept the the season series with the Dodgers 6 games to nothing.
Mhm.
So of course everybody's like, "Well, they beat them like that. What's going to happen?" I mean, that I don't know, beat them like a drum. I,
Yeah. They just beat him.
yeah,
I mean,
they just won.
Yamamoto, Yoshi Nobu. I never can say his name, so I'm just
I
Yoshi.
know.
Yamamoto, he had his worst outing of his MLB career in Milwaukee in July. Which I think was I think they were in Milwaukee in early July and then in LA for after the All-Star break. I might
Yes.
be mixed up, but
Well,
and
yeah,
he
one before and one after. I don't remember. I
but
think
he
or did they start after the All-Star break in Milwaukee?
they might have started it. Regardless, he had
America, the family
two thirds
first.
innings. 2/3 innings. That's all he made it. 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, no strikeouts. So when you look at those kind of things, you look at numbers, you think, of course. I mean, this could be a tough series for the Dodgers because Milwaukee plays small ball. They don't rely on the home run. They, they've got speed on the base pads. So why wouldn't it be why wouldn't the Milwaukee Brewers have a chance? And I think some of it was the very tired, oh, we're just the average Joes. Nobody knows who we are. I bet that none of my players could even be on the Dodgers, which is an insult to your players because, come on, Jackson Chourio, of course. I don't think any Dodger fan would be disappointed.
Let me see. Oh, my choices are Christian Yelich and
Right.
Michael Conforto.
Yeah.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, well, that's a
Wow.
tough one. Yeah, and so it
Um,
became
Freddie Peralta.
yes.
Even what's his name? I don't know that I'd want to see him in the Dodger uniform, but Mizorowski.
Yeah, he's an I yeah. But again, if for some reason he were to become a Dodger, you're going to root for him.
No, I'm
He
going to root
is
for him to
annoying.
take one back in the forehead or something.
Yeah. But I felt like it was very,
Wipe that stupid look off of his face.
I know. But it was just like, oh, woe is us. We're so like Eeyore.
And
We're okay at baseball. Maybe we'll win. It's like,
right.
give me a break.
And you're right. Pat Murphy overdid, and Dave Roberts called it out correctly.
Yes.
We're used to this David and Goliath thing,
Yeah.
and that's really what he did. He I think that, and the more I looked at it as time went, the more it seemed like he was less trying to play down his team and let the Dodgers be hyped, and maybe he thought they were going to get big headed.
Right.
But he underestimated them there while he was overestimating them on everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that going on with that could have two different things. Either it's like, oh look, the little guy won,
Mm-hmm.
or the little guy, he could also talk his team out of winning. And there was a lot of conversation, and not just clickbait kind of stuff, but Jeff Passan and a few others were talking about how this particular series, the not the biggest market, but one of the biggest markets versus the absolute smallest market in baseball, could be part of what sets off the work stoppage and becomes a big thing in the fight for a salary cap.
Yeah.
And and of course, so many people, especially people that have Twitter handles that have PGH connected to their, it's like upset and wanting salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, because you're a Pittsburgh fan.
Yeah.
Of course you want a salary cap. But guess what? You're going to do that. But players, and look at Blake Snell. Blake Snell came to the Dodgers not because they paid him the most money. All right, doesn't hurt. But he said it, and he said it numerous times. This is why, when they talked to him about it, this is why I came here. I wanted to be part of this winning that he wasn't seeing anyplace else. So it just, players are going to go to the teams that, Roki Sasaki came because I think they made the bathroom more Japanese friendly
Right.
or more Japanese
Like,
centric.
yeah, centric with the cool toilets.
And that was, and if that was it, I think I mentioned this. I read Ron Say's book, and he's talking about in the 60s and the 70s, the Dodgers being one of the only teams that had their own plane. And when you went to Dodger Town, USA, it was everybody was there. It was all welcome. The whole family came. You had, family activities. You had, and the players were welcomed in, and it was part of a great organization. You go play for the Yankees because of the traditions of the Yankees. You go to certain teams. Why do guys go to Philly? Because Philly has built a good environment.
Mm-hmm.
And the Dodgers are the same way. The Dodgers, guys will take less money to play there. And I'm not even talking about Shohei, because Shohei took the max amount of money, but he would have done that with anybody. And he wanted to do it so that way they could go get Blake Snell. They could overspend on Tanner Scott. They could bring in other players to build around and build on top of what they already had, to do exactly what they did last year and to do what they're trying to do this year.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look and see, how did it really all come to be? Now, as I recall, I don't remember what you said. Do you remember what your prediction was?
I said 6, and you said that's losers.
I said, no, I said
No,
that people who pick.
That's you said. You called me a loser. No.
Well, that I don't doubt, but probably not for the reason that you're.
No, it
that
wasn't
you're
in those
trying
terms.
to- Yes, but I said I think picking 5 is for people too afraid to call for the sweep.
Yes. Right.
And I called for the sweep. So let's see. Did that happen? We go to Milwaukee. First game was on a Monday night, October 13th, in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
And Blake Snell on the hill. And the question right out the gate was going to be what was going to happen? What were
I
the
think a big question for Blake Snell because my oldest son says this every time he sees Blake Snell pitching. He says this every time. When he got pulled from the 2020 World Series, that helped the Dodgers win. And you can't, because Austin Barnes got a single off of him. And after that, they went on and they, won that game because he was lights out with the Dodgers. They weren't hitting anything. And he always says that.
and I guess hypothetically that could
Yeah.
have been true. We don't know.
Well,
and
but
and
he's
we
never
think that
gone.
maybe what's his name, Kevin Cash, at that point may have seen that was the end of whatever dominance. If Austin Barnes gets a hit off of you,
That's the end.
it's over.
Because that's it. He's the breaker. He breaks you. But the reason I bring that up is because that has been a constant in Snell's career. Now, he had a no-hitter. He's had a no-hitter, but majority of the time he goes maybe 6 innings.
Yeah, that was
Maybe.
always the knock. I was like, he's got 2 Cy Youngs and no complete games.
Right.
Yeah. And then finally he throws the no-hitter, gets that complete game out of the way. That quiets that down. The one thing too that to go with this whole we're the average Joes and the Dodgers are ruining baseball thing is that the Brewers had a really hard, we talked about this before, they had a 5-game set and against the Cubs.
Right.
And you got to figure that is like, it's a regional rivalry. They're 90 minutes apart. So it's like the Dodgers and the Dregs as far as proximity. So they had done that. They used a lot of their pitchers. So on this game, they end up throwing a bullpen game to start everything off.
Which was interesting because if you look throughout the series, that kind of was their I just not say MO. That's not what I want to say. I think that was their what they were planning, right, in the game plan. Because even when Peralta, he didn't start, he came in, there was always like a opener.
Yeah. So, let's get through the top 3 or 4 of the Dodgers. And then let's let the bottom of the lineup, which typically isn't as consistent, on any team. Your best hitters are always usually your top 3 or 4. With the Dodgers, it can go as far down as 6, depending on what's going on. And sometimes the whole lineup is deadly. But, it starts off with them in a bullpen game. Low scoring affair, which I thought would definitely work in Milwaukee's favor.
Yes, because anytime the Dodgers have like that one run, they're say they're ahead, but they're ahead only by 1-2 runs. I think all Dodger fans are like, we need 15 more.
Right, especially because you never know who's coming in out of the bullpen.
Exactly.
And you can't do like, okay, Blake, you only pitched 4 innings and now we're going to go to Roki to finish it up.
Yeah.
Because Rocky's become the man in the
Mm,
postseason anyway.
yeah.
As far as that goes, this game, pitcher's duel for the first
Yes.
5 full innings. Actually, I would say that it was pretty much a pitcher's duel all the way through because in the top of the sixth, the Dodgers are able to score a run, and that would have been a home run by Freddie Freeman. But it's not till the ninth before any runs are really scored, and so the bullpen for Milwaukee does a great job against the Dodgers. And
Mhm.
at that point, watching the Dodgers go, you kind of worried: are we back to this again?
Yep.
Blake Snell, on the other hand, does like he's been doing to end the season and in the early stage of the playoffs. Goes 8 full innings, striking out 10, only giving up 1 hit.
Yeah. I mean, just excellent game. I think he had 103 pitches, something like that.
Yeah, 103 pitches. And
So pretty
then you think,
efficient.
absolutely, yeah, 103 pitches over that time frame with the 10 strikeouts, and then only faced 24 batters. So he's pretty much right on there because 24 is the minimum you would meet over an 8 inning game
Mhm.
at 3 per. So here comes Roki Sasaki. You figure, okay, good. I think everybody breathed a little sigh of relief, like as far as,
Yeah.
okay, good, he made it this far. We don't have to wait for Trinan or somebody else to come in and blow this. And not a good night for Roki. He does get 2 outs, but yeah, he ends up
Yeah.
being charged with a run, and luckily they didn't. And I don't know if it was luckily, but probably luckily, they after he walked Christian Yelich, he said, "You know what? Let's not give them an opportunity to walk this off."
Yes, exactly.
So they called in Blake Trinan.
Right. Which I was like,
So it's like, we don't want to give them the
no.
opportunity. We'd like to make it a certainty
Yes, we
that they
want to
walk
blow it wide open for
they
them.
walk this off. And in that, so Blake Trinan comes in. Uh, Christian Yelich is on um, is on base, so he's Roki's responsibility as far as that goes.
Mhm.
He an inherited runner. It's 2 outs, and Blake Trinan, Yelich steals second, and he says, "You know what? Having a guy in scoring position just isn't good enough.
Yeah.
We need somebody on first base too." So he walks Contreras.
Yeah.
So William Contreras on first, Christian Yelich on second, and Bryce Turang coming to the plate, who's he did okay during the playoffs. He's been and throughout the
Hit some
season.
home runs.
He's been a contributor to his team, and so at that point, it's like, should I just turn this off and figure, okay, we'll try again tomorrow, or do I hang around and wait? I don't know about you. I hung around and waited,
I did too.
and were promptly rewarded.
Yes. With the strikeout swinging.
Yep, and
But the one thing with Bryce Turang's at bat is there was one pitch that I think that was inside. And if he would have just moved his leg and let him get hit, they would have loaded the bases. And a lot of people said, why didn't Turang just let,
right, why didn't he take one for the team?
right. And
Basically,
he did say later after, yeah, I probably should have done that.
you know what he should have thought? What would you do?
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you would have said he would get on base,
Yeah, it's to get hit.
get hit, at that point.
Yeah, and then he swung out, he struck out swinging. I think I think what was probably a ball, but
No, it was. It fully was. And,
yeah.
I saw a couple times, I saw Edmund swing at a pitch that was so far inside in one of the games that it was like, what are you swinging at? The
Yeah.
thing that got me, I saw this a lot through this series on multiple batters, but he was one, Teo especially. Watch a
Yes.
pitch come right down the middle and then swing at something that before it ever got there was already tailing off and was in almost in the dirt when he decided to swing at it.
Mhm.
It's like that was not going to be a borderline strike anywhere
Yeah, nowhere. Yeah, it was
unless
like some
Angel
kind of
Hernandez was
wild
back there.
swings, just
Yeah,
like
there was just anyway.
yeah,
So
I
the
noticed that too.
Dodgers win it 2-1 to take that first one. Okay, good. Sigh of relief. Let's see what they can do in game two. Uh, what were you thinking at this point? Were you like, "Whew, all right,
I
we
was
got one."
glad. Yeah, I was um I knew that going into Milwaukee, the Dodgers needed to win at least one game in Milwaukee because my thought was then they win one game, they come back to Los Angeles, they play 3 games there. So could it work out that they could, maybe win all 3 in LA? I didn't know, but I knew that they needed to go to LA at least tied if that was the case.
Right. So, game two.
Wait,
Um,
wait though.
yes.
Before we end with game 1, we got to talk about that crazy double play.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That was happening in the 4th, and Max Muncy is up to bat. And it was something I have never seen before. And I don't know that I'll ever see it again. Maybe.
I would
I
say the one
Probably not.
thing to say about this situational awareness or a
Yes.
complete lack thereof.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're the Dodgers, you are on one side. If you're William Contreras, you are the MVP.
Yeah, and your baseball IQ is like through the roof
Yeah,
because
you're
he's
Einstein.
of baseball. Yeah, this is crazy. So the bases are loaded. Max hits a fly ball to center, and you're like, oh, grand slam. This would be so awesome. But it's not a grand slam. Um, what happens is Sal Frelick, he couldn't get to the ball, but the ball bounced off of his mitt and then hit the wall, and then back into his possession.
And at first, there's one thing that, and everybody knows this except for people like me who don't really know what the rules are in Milwaukee.
You're right.
But in a lot of places, like Angel Stadium's one that's good for this, there's a yellow line. And if you hit the ball above the yellow line, like in right field, it hits the scoreboard stuff before the stands, which are like it's a 15-foot wall. If it hits above the yellow line, then it's a home run,
Mm-hmm.
even though it didn't technically leave the park. In Milwaukee, that yellow line doesn't mean anything. That's just the top of the wall, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it's padding up there or whatever as part of their stands. So he hits off of his glove, bounces off above the yellow line. Now, in most places like Anaheim or other places that the yellow line means something, that's a home run, just as
Yeah.
if it bounced off and went into the stands. But in this case, it is not.
Right. Now, and apparently all of the players are always like the visitors are always reminded of that rule about the yellow line. Like, don't think that because you hit it there, it's a home run.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really we're navy blue and yellow, and that's just the color that we we went with, just to screw with you, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, that was it. That was a mind game.
Yeah. But Teoscar Hernandez is at third. So and nobody knew. So in postseason baseball, there's 6 umpires on the field. There's 7 total because one is reserved. Because whoever is the home plate umpire, who is going to be the home plate umpire, like the next game, gets that game off. So
Right. So they
so
always
if you
have
were,
they always have a backup basically
yeah.
in playoffs, so
So,
they're not down a man.
but they have an outfield, a guy that's in outfield, and he called it fair. But who really saw that? William Contreras saw that. But if you're not looking to see what he called, which you may forget, you wouldn't have known. And so that was the issue, that Teoscar, as soon as that ball, even though it hit his glove, it was in play, and Teoscar should have taken off for home. He didn't do that. Dino Ebel was telling him to run.
Well, he had gone, and then once it hit, he went
Yes,
back
like he
and
had to
tagged
tag
up
up.
again
Right, which
instead
he
of
didn't need to do. And so he runs and to home and is out because Frelick throws to home. And then Will Smith, I think, had told Edmund to go back
he
to
did.
first, and then Will Smith was on second, and he's running to third, and Contreras steps on the bag at third, and then that's the double play.
And
they are all confused.
even though it didn't matter at that point, they probably would have ended up if uh, Will made it to third before Contreras got there.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody went back, and I never saw anything. But the word was they think Max Muncy passed Tommy Edman.
I had heard that as well.
And if that's the case, then that would have
Yeah.
negated it too. So they end up with this long double play, and if not for William Contreras paying attention, the ball comes to him, and he realizes he runs to third. Well, at that point, not Max Muncy, but Will Smith is barely off second base,
Yeah.
kind of looking around like, what happened?
Well, and then that's the thing is, Frelick gets the ball, he throws it, and then they get a double play, and he's like, what just happened?
Yeah, you see him
Yeah.
talking to whoever was walking up there, like next
Yeah,
to
I think
Churio
yeah,
or whoever,
Churio.
and he's like, "What the just
Yeah.
happened?"
Yeah.
And that's what just happened. Yeah, that would have been, and for them, they lucked out because you figure there was Teo walked, and then it was Will Smith and Tommy Edman both singled. Had that come in, and had they not, you figure at least Teo would have scored, and you would have had Will Smith standing at third.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what happens at second, and at least first and third, because Max would have probably made it to first. But the question would have been then, I think you would have had the bases still loaded, and at that point, just one out.
Right. Yeah. That was
PK
a crazy. I don't
coming
even. Yeah. I don't think the announcers, because you had Brian Anderson, Frenchie, because I can't think of the guy's name, and Ron Darling, because I always call him Frenchie, and I'm like, what's his name? I think he's an announcer for the Braves, but he's a former player. I'll have to look that. Jeff Francoeur. All of a sudden, I'm like, what's his name? Frenchie. All
I
of
knew
them.
when you said Braves, it was like
Yeah.
French, Francoeur.
Both of them, Darling. Well, I mean, and Anderson, he's been an announcer for a long time, and it was like,
And
I don't think I've.
Brewers announcer.
And he's a Brewers announcer, which I'm going to give him props because was like, how is he going to do, in this situation? There, you could hear a different tone when the Brewers were, looked like they were in scoring position. They got a hit, but in the end, it wasn't terrible.
He wasn't a full on homer
Yeah,
for his team. And it's
exactly.
funny, he got to do that, but Joe Davis was doing the American League.
Right.
But Joe Davis does the World Series. So
Mm-hmm.
should the Dodgers move on here, I
Yeah.
think most of you are listening already know the
I already
answer to
know.
that question, but we're going to play coy
We're gonna
here,
play
and
coy.
we're
We
going to
don't
go
know.
to game.
So
Can we go to game 2 now,
we can go to
or
game 2. We needed to mention
yeah,
that
you're
double
right.
play.
I like it out of my head. Game 2 was a short game for me.
It was. It really
Yeah,
was.
it completely was because I turned it on. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound versus Freddie Peralta, and Freddie did start from the beginning. He would go 5 2/3. But pitch number 1 out of the hand of Yoshi to Jackson Churio was deposited somewhere in the outfield seats. And I said, I think Law and Order's on today.
Every day.
And I went and watched something else. That game was a Tuesday. So, yeah, Law
Yeah.
and Order's not on at my house anyway, unless I go watch it on, one of the streamers.
Oh, right.
Law and Order's not
Okay.
on Tuesdays. So I was watching something else. Or I've been reading a book, a Stephen King book called 11/22/63, which is a
Mm.
pretty interesting book, and had watched
Oh,
the
yeah. Yeah.
miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been reading this, and so I probably went to that because I was like, I'm not watching any more of this. I turned it off.
Yeah, and I gave you those stats at the beginning of Yamamoto's last outing,
hmm
and it felt like it could maybe be a repeat.
I was a little worried because Roki had a bad night,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it's Yoshi's turn.
Yeah.
But I was wrong.
You were wrong, and I did not. I know we texted, but we texted about some other things, but I never was telling you about the game
Nope.
until the end when I said Yamamoto complete game,
Yep.
and you're like, I guess I can't watch the next game.
Right,
So
because it was that one run was all that he would give up.
that's it.
He would
One
go
run.
all 9. He gave up 3 total hits, struck out 7, walked 1, threw 111 pitches, but completed the game. And
And it was interesting because they were watching the dugout. And he always had his glove ready to go. He was stretching. He was focused. And so they were watching as the innings went on. Is he going to come back out? Is he going to come back out? And he came back out, and they were like, well, but he's at, 100 pitches or almost. And, it's like maybe he probably was at 100. And Ron Darling said, that's an arbitrary number. I don't know where it came from, but it's like, oh, you're at 100, you can't pitch anymore. In Japan, pitchers pitch more than 100, pitches. That's a normal thing. So in that
and
situation,
used to be a normal thing here.
yeah, that's what I mean. And that's why Ron Darling, he was very dismissive of the 100, because it's probably Brian Anderson who brought it up, and he was very dismissive of it because he was like, that's arbitrary. That's
That's where this is the big conversation that we've had, or that's gone on for a while and it's something that, came up in Moneyball. In fact, the
Mhm.
guy who plays Ron Washington in Moneyball does the voiceover part at that. But the fundamental issue was that they forgot about there's other parts of the game than just the stats.
Mhm.
And sometimes, and we've talked about Dave having this problem in the past. Sometimes somebody is on, and Yoshi has proven that sometimes he may start off a little slow, but he seems to get stronger as he goes.
Yes. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of conversation about that, about having a feel for the game versus just reading the stat sheet or letting the front office tell you this is how it is. If this guy's in, it's like letting Blake Snell go in that game. He's out there to pull him, and Blake Snell says, "No, I got it." Or Alex
Yeah.
Vesia tell him, "Hey, if we get out of this, if we have a lead, I want to go back. I
Yeah.
will finish this game." Taking that information and um, and going with it, having that feel, that's something that can, you know, uh, be can prove fruitful. And doing in this case, letting him go was reading him correctly. And surprisingly, that's was just
Yeah.
something that he normally doesn't do.
Right. He normally doesn't. And that's the other thing too with these two pitching performances from Snell and Yamamoto in that first game. After that double play, a lot of people thought, oh well, to kind of during the game, obviously momentum shifts between teams, but and they were like, oh, this double play really, it's got the crowd fired up, the Brewers are fired up, and is it going to rattle Snell? No, he didn't care. He went out there and did his job. So I just thought that was interesting how it's like, oh, well, this just happened. So the same thing could be said. The Churio home run, it could have rattled him where he could have had a bad game, but he shook it off and threw a complete game. And he's the first pitcher in MLB postseason history since 2010. So Roy Halladay, he had a complete game, who had a complete game and 0 runners in scoring position. So that's been a while since
And
2010.
and 111 is when you think that even though it was over 13 innings back in 1974, Nolan Ryan threw 235 pitches in a
Yeah.
13 inning game. So how many of those were in the 9, were in the 9, and then he continued
Well,
on.
and the crazy thing with this game is afterwards, it's like, this is old school baseball
Uh-huh.
because a pitcher went a complete game, 9
Right.
innings.
Well, he did when you figure with that, and then even though Snell didn't do a complete game, throw a complete game, he still went 8.
Yeah.
So the Dodgers starters have picked up. Dodgers go on to win this one 5-1 and go home with a 2-0 lead.
Yeah. Which is great. I mean, it's like, like I said, I thought they have to win one, and they didn't just win one, they won 2. And it really helped because and you saw this in Philadelphia, where the crowd, when you take the crowd out of the game, that really helps your cause.
Yep, for sure.
Teoscar had a home run in this game. He tied it up. And then Max Muncy also had a home run. So, yeah, good game.
So
So,
game
travel day and go to LA.
game 3, a lot of talk about where Shohei has been.
Mm-hmm.
And even leading up, but game 3, that had really started to kind of take hold. What's going on? He's not really done anything. He hadn't pitched at that point. He doesn't pitch this game. Tyler Glass now would come in and actually have the shortest outing of the starting pitchers for that one. He only goes 5 2/3.
Yeah.
Um, he maybe could have gone a little farther, but yeah, in the end, it ends up to work out. Vesia comes in. The bullpen does a good job. They hold the Brewers to, let's see, game number one they had one.
Mm-hmm.
Game number two they had one run,
One.
and in
Yes.
game number three they would only manage one run. They had another semi bullpen game. Aaron Ashby would start this one like he did game one.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jacob Mizorowski would come in and get the bulk innings. Um, he it wasn't that he pitched poorly. I mean, he pitched well. He struck out 9,
Yeah.
but he gave up 2 runs, and they didn't need more than that. They actually had 1 run they got off of Ashby, and that was thanks to the only hit that Shohei had was the lead off the game with, this is going to sound weird, but a bloop triple.
Yeah. It really was.
It was kind
It,
of an oops. It was an excuse me swing. It was like, I'm just trying to stay alive. And he got out there and it just kind of blooped over and hit just right, rolled into the corner there in right
mm-hmm.
field, which we know even the guy who plays there more often, 81 games a season, has a hard time playing that corner.
Yeah.
That it didn't work out well for him. The Brewers right fielder, who was Jackson Churio, um, and Shohei, once he rounded first, he saw where it was and he didn't slow down.
No,
And
he
then
just put the guns on, put the
as
jets.
yeah, he did, afterburners, fully engaged,
Yeah.
and as all the players were being asked questions about Shohei, um, after some things, but Mookie had said when Shohei gets going, he magic happens.
Mm-hmm.
Good things happen. And sure enough, and like I said, this could have been it. They didn't, well, they needed one extra because they gave up 1 run, but uh, a nice single back up the middle, and Shohei scores easily after the triple, and they're on the board first, and would another low scoring game. It would take them again till the sixth before they could get anything on there. And honestly, you had to wonder what kind of game it was going to be because the Brewers came right back in the top of the second to score their run. So it was tied up for quite a while,
Mm-hmm.
until the bottom of the sixth when the Dodgers were able to grab 2 more. And 3-0 lead. And of course, that opened the door to the comparisons and a few, and honestly, kind of weird how things work out. But the fourth game was played on the 21st anniversary of Dave Roberts stealing second base for the Red Sox that helped spark the comeback of the only team to ever come back being 3 games to none. That's the 2004 Red Sox,
Mm-hmm.
the curse breaking Red Sox.
Right.
And in fact, obviously they didn't know at the time, but if you ever seen the movie Fever Pitch,
Oh yeah. I like that movie.
so that movie, if you haven't seen it, it's worth seeing, but it was based on the fact that the Red Sox, being the Red Sox, they play well, they get to a point, and then they fall apart. That it was a fantasy, it was a work of fiction, and the Red Sox, um, were going to come back and win. And there is actual footage during the games that ends
Mm-hmm.
up in the movie
Yeah.
because it turned out to be true. If you've never
Yes.
seen it, it's worth a watch. It's a good, especially if you do like hanging around home, kind of a quiet evening date night kind of thing. There's
Yeah.
two movies that I've always thought were pretty good for those things. Was For Love of the Game, Kevin Costner and Kelly Preston,
Mm-hmm.
because it had the sports element and it had the love story. So kind of
Yeah.
rom com, not rom com, but a love story along with baseball, which is a love story in and of itself.
Yes.
And then this one, Fever Pitch, is another one that's good because it's got different. That one's got more comedy. It's got the rom com to it,
Yeah. It's Drew
plus the
Barrymore,
love of baseball.
Jimmy Fallon. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a good cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was just thinking about that the other day when he comes up and he's introducing Drew Barrymore the first time, his friend Al, or the guy that sits there, and he's Al Waterman, and he had
Yeah.
sponges, and he's like, "How you doing, Al? I'm on dialysis. Good for
Yeah.
you, buddy." Anyway,
Okay.
all right.
Um,
So,
yeah.
but
So that was brought up, and Dave was like, "Yeah, I'm not answering that question. Like,
hey,
why are I
sometimes
also
things only happen once in a lifetime.
yeah?" And I heard that Joe Torre called Pat Murphy to give him some tips about being in a situation, but Joe Torre never won a World Series or that I as a
No, and
manager.
he managed the Dodgers,
Mm-hmm.
and he managed the Yankees,
And the
and
Cardinals, right?
right. But
Yeah.
what I'm wondering is, who was the manager for the Yankees in 2004?
Oh, I don't know.
Huh.
Let's look
Who
that
was
up.
the Yankees? No,
I mean, I
he won a
guess
World Series, didn't he? Wasn't he the manager of the
I don't.
the 99 2000 Yankees?
I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
Who was
I
the
thought I
Yankees
saw that,
manager
so it
in
could be
2000?
bad internet information. Um.
Let's see, 2004, Joe Torre was the manager in
Oh, actually,
2004.
he won 4. So sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, he won
way
4.
to
That was horrible information, and I just
it
walked
was.
into it.
Your
Yeah,
AI.
96, 98, 99, and 2000. So I don't know. I mean, it seemed odd because I was like, Joe Torre, he had to have. Um, but
But
yeah, I
I
mean,
guess he would be a good he saw it happen to his team.
yeah.
So here's how you do it. The problem is that Pat Murphy had already set his team up for failure,
Mm-hmm.
or have an excuse. Well, we're the little guy.
Yeah.
We can't we don't have they have 9 MVPs.
Right.
No, they don't. There's 4 people who won an
Right.
MVP award on
And
there.
but they have
Yes, 3
MVP. I
are
mean,
current, but one you're not going to see because Clayton Kershaw is probably not going to pitch. He's the
yeah.
4th one.
Yeah. Right. I mean, Christian Yelich is an MVP. It's not like you don't have MVPs.
And you got guys, and they showed the Brewers team showed that they could get going. Yeah, they played a lot of small ball, and that's how they won a lot of games.
Yeah.
But they also hit home runs.
Mm-hmm.
Ask the Cubs. They won some games by the home run in
Yeah.
that division series. So it wasn't like they didn't have, they couldn't do it. But I think that once again, they would only score 4 runs total, 1 per game
That's
over the
it.
course of this. And the Dodgers, they actually looked like the team that we thought they were going to be going through, that there was not going to be anybody standing in their way. And you
Right.
figure at this point they sweep. So as you said, the postseason is different.
It is. It is very different.
And they sweep them after being swept in the regular season. All of a sudden, you're like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know,
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. Nope.
Yeah, I just felt like the Brewers in these first 3 games were very they seem to come out defeated
Yeah, they
with a
weren't things
defeatist
that you saw them
attitude.
do versus the Cubs in the
Hmm.
regular season. And that was like when Churio hit that home run that one night. I thought, well, they couldn't stay asleep the whole time. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't that they were going to run off and it could have ended up being just a 5-game series. But
Hmm.
like I said, I didn't want to say, yeah, it'll go 5 so that way I cover myself. No, if the
Yeah.
Dodgers are going to do it, the Dodgers are going to do it.
And they did, and you were right. Because I think we have all heard about game 4, but we're going to talk about it because we have to.
Well, we don't have to, but
No,
we
but we
should.
should.
Yes. So, game 4.
Game 4, Shohei Ohtani on the mound.
Yes, and just to get his stat line going up against Jose Quintana, who nobody knew what was going to happen with their pitching staff, and there was a thought that he was going to pitch the night before,
Right.
and then there was a lot of conversation about are they going to try that thing they did versus the Cubs where they sent 2 pitchers out to warm up before and you get Dodgers. Which one do you want? You're gonna pick door A or B.
Right. So spin the wheel.
Right? Who's gonna come out? And then
Wouldn't that be cool though? If you had the bullpen but you can't see. So I guess like at Wrigley Field,
right?
and they had 2 doors and the opposing team got to choose. And
That
then
sounds
because you don't know.
that sounds
And
like one of our harebrained ideas would
I
be
know I can't get away from
to do
those.
those exciting, add a little thing of excitement to it. You never know who's going to come out, or
Yeah.
maybe 3 doors and one of the players that's back there. You know how like on Let's Make a Deal
Yeah.
where one there's a car, one there's a washer and dryer set, and the other one
Uh-huh.
there's a donkey.
Yeah.
And Mr. Ed comes out to pitch, or it's the third base coach for the Brewers is going to come out and pitch,
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that sounds banana ballish, but
Yeah. Hey.
but the thing is, yeah, that could be fun.
Anyway.
And you got to pick which door are you getting. So you either get, Cy Young coming out there or somebody like that,
Yeah.
or you get, one of their regular relievers, or you get,
Somebody
Jared
from the
Koenig,
stands.
Trevor McGill behind door B, or you get the left field hot dog vendor.
That's right. Yeah,
Anyway,
the
so
Brewers
Shohei
plan
comes
was
out, goes 6.
6. Yeah.
Actually faced 2 batters in the 7th,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it was good. I could see it. He started talking to himself,
Yeah.
and that was when you knew he had kind of lost whatever his concentration one was gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when he's up hitting and you see him constantly turning his head, pulling his head out. He's not focused in like he's supposed to be.
Right.
And so, Shohei, as if this is big news, would do something in this game that had never been done before. Not
Yeah.
even by Babe Ruth.
No.
And one thing that's here that he did was he did something that hadn't been done because he was in a unique position to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give Babe Ruth, when he pitched, hit 9th in the games that he pitched. But Shohei goes 6 innings, gives up 2 hits, no runs, walks 3, strikes out 10, throws 100 pitches.
Yeah.
And I think that had he been able to get through the 7th, they probably would have taken him out after that.
Yeah.
But he comes out at the right time. But it didn't even, that part you could almost overlook if he wasn't pitching because of what he did in the game.
Yeah. So in this first inning, you're like, okay, how's this
Did
going to
something
go?
that had never been done before.
Yes. In the first inning, the first batter, Bryce Terang, walks. So you're like, okay, let's see how this goes. But then Jackson Churio, Christian Yelich, and William Contreras all strike out. So he runs over, gets his batting gloves on, his helmet, all of his stuff, walks
The
up
quick
to the
scene change in the drama that is Shohei Ohtani on the baseball field.
yes, walks up and hits a home run.
Promptly out,
Promptly hits it. And
takes him downtown. Now there was a lot of talk on the radio that about the pitching matchups that Jose Quintana had pitched well against the Dodgers in previous, and then they even brought up that he pitched against them last year for the Mets, but he didn't
right?
pitch well against them last year
No.
in the playoffs. But the other thing was they were like, yeah, and he's done really well, and then they go, yeah, let's take a look and see how everybody is, and and they're like, yeah, no, they start reading some people off. And they go, how do you do against Shohei? And he's like, Shohei was 2 for 6 against him. Oh, okay, so that's not too bad. Yeah, and both the hits were home runs.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you could hear the fact that they thought Quintana might be the guy to slow the Dodgers
Yeah,
down.
this narrative
All
that
of a
they were
sudden, you could feel
hoping.
the air coming out of that balloon, and sure enough, Shohei takes Quintana yard to start the game, and is at that point the only pitcher to lead off a playoff game with a home run. Yes, even Babe Ruth didn't do it, but Babe Ruth, apples and oranges. Babe Ruth never hit leadoff.
No.
Thus, that's not a fair comparison. I don't think.
Exactly. Now, you talked about Shohei's performance and was up to this. He got that triple in the third game, and then he hit this home run. And I think that's what helped, that triple. But in the first game, he was 0 for 3. He walked 3 times, but he also,
That was but that goes. I think that goes to tell you that even when you see him in a slump, you still don't know when he's going to come out of it.
right.
And
And
it
the
was
second,
easier to walk him,
then
than
just,
to. And yeah, he had that triple, and that was it in that
yeah.
game.
In the
Other
second
than
game,
the walks.
he had 3 strikeouts. So throughout this series, it was like, we need Shohei. And Dave Roberts even said, I don't know how far we can get. I don't know if we can win a World Series if Shohei isn't hitting.
Right. And everybody
So,
kind of, but they all said he didn't do. Will Smith said he didn't do anything today, like after game 2. Tomorrow he could come out and hit 5 home runs.
yeah.
Even his
He
teammates
also,
are like, I think we've brought this up. His teammates know that he can't do it by himself. But
right.
I made this comparison to NBA that there's teams that before they got the right players around him, Michael Jordan, the other 4 guys on the floor had the best view in the house to watch the magic of Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happened. You see it. Players, even at college level, you got one guy who's head and shoulders above the rest. Other players tend to stop and watch and let them carry the load. Well, these guys are saying, how does this work? He's going, he could do this. Mookie said, when he gets something going, magic happens.
Yeah.
And he's going, well, he comes out. And I think too, there was a lot of mention of this. Shohei had been hearing everything.
Yes.
Where are you? I think I even said to you, maybe it's time to look at moving him down in the order if he's
Mm-hmm.
not going to come around. Do something that's got to shake him up. And of course, I wasn't the only one saying that. And Dave said, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, they
So,
don't often listen to us. Sometimes they do, but
well,
not
but they
not
have
often.
in some things and then not give us credit for it.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Um, oh, I just lost it. I hate when I do that. I had something. Um, oh,
is it
Shohei,
about
what was I
baseball?
gonna say? It might have been. So if
About
I
the
think of it,
Dodgers, maybe.
maybe,
Um,
maybe.
yeah. So
I don't know.
the thing was, he comes out and he says, "Okay, I'm going to pitch. I strike out 3. I'm going to hit a home run and
Oh,
set the
I
tone."
know. I remember. So all season, Shohei did not take batting practice on the field.
Oh, right, right,
He always takes it in the batting cages.
right.
They had the travel day. On the off day, they're practicing, doing all their drills. He comes out and takes batting practice on the field,
To do something different. And
which
now
was huge.
a lot of people ask, why doesn't he? And they asked him, why don't you do this? And he said, because I can get more done in the cage. Because when you go out there, it's live batting practice. Whoever's throwing to you isn't going to throw you what you would expect maybe Freddie Peralta to throw you or
Mm-hmm.
Mizorowski to throw or any pitcher.
Right.
They're by going in there, they can set the pitching machines to mimic any pitcher.
Right.
And I'm not even sure to what extent they have. We're going up against like the Phillies pitchers, these
Mm-hmm.
left-handers who shut everybody else down. We can go in there and do that. Now, it didn't feel like any of that was helping him
No.
in previous, but maybe just by going out there and doing that, and he hit one off of the pavilion.
Yeah. And they played his walk-up song when he came out, and everybody was on the field. And they
Oh
were
yeah,
giving him a hard time too, teasing him about it. And
right,
then
which
they
is
watched
good
him.
because that keeps everything loose.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, and then they're still standing there in awe of whatever he's doing. So he gets that, hits that home run, um, which leads to Mookie singling, Will Smith singles, Tommy Edman singles to score Mookie Betts,
Mm-hmm.
Teoscar grounds out, but it allows Will Smith to score. So they didn't do like they had done in the past, where they got guys on and then didn't take advantage of it. They actually got some runs
Yeah.
and to start off, and that gives the 3 runs to start it. And Milwaukee, I think, is stunned at that point. Milwaukee, we said they scored 1 run per game
Mm-hmm.
in
They
this
continued.
series sweep. It took them up until the 8th inning before they were able to score that run. And it would be Blake Trinan who would give up that run.
Yeah.
Um, Alex Vesia comes in to relieve Shohei, who had let 2 guys get on base and stranded them both, and was able to close out that inning. And then Blake Trinan comes in, can only get 1 out, gives up the 1 run, and even though at that point the Dodgers are up 4-1, because in the 4th inning, what happened?
Shohei comes up to bat,
I don't
and
even know that you got to say anything else. In the 4th inning, what happened? Shohei came up the bat.
Yes. You could have had your eyes closed. You could have had your back to the TV, or as soon as you heard the ball hit the
Isn't that
bat,
so redundant?
maybe. Probably. What I'm getting at is a Shohei home run sounds different.
It does, and I've been there. I've heard
Yes,
'em.
we've witnessed them. In fact, at this All-Star game,
Yep.
you had looked down for just a moment, like just real quick, and then you were like, Shohei hit a home run, 'cause like I hear that sound.
Yep. That was it was pretty incredible. And that was in a different ballpark. I'd
Mhm.
never heard him hit one there, but it sounded the same.
It sounded the same.
And he just
And this one was 496 feet. It went over the pavilion into some bushes. And a guy who was out there, why you would be out there during any game, but especially a postseason game, eating nachos, but he got the ball. So
and
I guess,
the whole back section, we walked through there.
yeah,
You went.
yeah.
You can, and they've got the whole back section. That's where the statues are back out that
Mhm.
way. That's where they do the post game show on Sportsnet LA.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was hanging around back out there. There's actually an area where you can look down into the opposing team's bullpen.
Oh, right.
And anyway, so yeah, he's back there. He became only the third player to ever hit it completely out. And one of them was Willie Stargell.
I think, didn't he do it once or twice?
Willie Stargell?
Yeah.
I think he did it twice.
Yeah.
But there was one other player, and all of a sudden I can't remember who the other player is. But now Shohei's number 3. And it wasn't like Mark McGuire.
Wasn't it Kyle? Didn't Kyle Schwarber hit during the? I mean, there's a plaque out there now, 455.
Fernando Tatis.
Oh,
Jr.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Schwarber. It was Fernando Tatis
Not
Jr.
his wasn't quite out.
Willie Stargell, but yeah, he does that. So here you go. 2 home runs, 6 innings pitched.
Yeah, he hits a home run. Mookie flies out. He hits a home run. Mookie flies out. Top of the 5th, he's back on the mound.
Right,
and
nothing happened.
And he goes 1, 2, 3. He gets a fly out and 2 strikeouts.
So
yeah, like no big deal.
He goes to the 7th. Alex Vesia would come in because he lets 2 guys on. Vesia stops the Brewers from whatever they thought they had brewing, which really didn't feel like anything was brewing. I almost feel like you probably could have left Shohei out there and he would have figured it out. But
yeah.
Why?
True. Yeah.
So you get him out. Vesia was a good option. Trinan comes in, gives up the 1 run. And I don't even remember. Do you remember what it was that? Because that was the 8th inning.
Yeah, let me.
I
So
think the 8th inning, it was. So Trinan comes in, gives up a double to Caleb Durbin, and that guy. Every time he came up, I was a little worried. About Caleb Durbin because he just seemed like because he hit a triple during the series. He steals third base, and then I don't even remember this guy, Andrew Monasterio.
Oh, right.
Trinan walks him. He gets Isaac Collins, who has been a Rookie of the Year candidate and was an All-Star this year. Gets him to strike out swinging. And at that point, that's the only out he was able to get. There's 2 guys on. Banda comes in, and the 1 run that Trinan is charged with, Banda actually kind of gave up. But it was because Durbin Durbin was able to score from third on a it was a double play ball, but they turned it a little slow. I remember that thinking you got to get rid of the ball faster,
Yeah.
and so they're able to get Monasterio at second, and then Turang makes it to first,
Mm-hmm.
and then Churio singles, and then Christian Yelich grounds out back to the pitcher,
Yes.
and inning over. Banda saves the day,
Yes.
and we head to the bottom of the eighth. And at that point, as much as I didn't want to say it, that game felt like it was over at that point.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
the thing is that's um, interesting, and we didn't say anything about it in the seventh.
Mm.
Is that in the
Shohei Ohtani came to
yes,
bat.
came to bat, and that's all. That's all. And what was that? We'll do Forrest Gump, and that's all I got to say about that.
That's right.
Yeah, he comes to the plate, and I don't remember if it was Mookie or somebody that said, "Wow, he just came out of the game after striking out 10," and you think, "Okay, that's it," and then he goes, and if you watched, I think the most fun was watching not the crowd reaction,
No.
but his teammates in the dugout and the bullpen. He doesn't hit it out of the park this time. The other
No,
two
just
shots were both one off the pavilion and the other one out over the pavilion.
yeah, so 446 feet, 496, and this one 427. Yeah.
And this one was to not straightaway center field, but
Mm-hmm.
not far off straightaway
Yeah.
center field. And Freddie Freeman got his hands on his head with just like, oh my God. You know what? I would think that if you looked out to the outfield, Sal Frelick was going, what the just happened?
Yeah.
He was too
The
busy watching that ball go out of the park, is what he was
yeah,
doing.
and the bullpen was hilarious
There
because
was
you had guys
those
like
guys were out there holding their
dancing.
head, dancing. It was crazy. A couple of the guys, the way they were dancing, I thought people in the stands were going to throw dollars at them. And they were just, it was just so, and they didn't show, and even if they had, the Brewers, if they were looking with shock, they were looking the same way, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
We've just, can you imagine, whether you're on his team or not, any player that has a game like what Shohei had? And it's not like, he's not the first one to hit 3 home runs in a game for the Dodgers. He's
Yeah.
probably the biggest name,
Mm-hmm.
but Kike did it.
Yeah. And
You
I
know,
think Kike told him, anybody can hit 2. You
yeah,
hit 3, then you're the
that's
real deal.
that's legend status.
That's
And he
right.
said, okay, and he did it.
Yeah.
Strike out 10. So, even if they'd looked in there, they may have had their mouths open, but they couldn't go with their hands on their head or dance around like, oh my God, did you see that? But I bet you
Yeah.
afterward they were like, I can't believe what I just saw.
Yeah. I was witness on the
Who was
field.
that? That was Jack Buck when Gibson hit the home run
Yeah.
in
Yes.
1988. That was,
Yeah.
and it was just incredible. At that point, if they had any hopes, it was deflated at that point. He took
Yeah.
all the air out of the Brewers. He took their spirit away,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it. They brought in Roki to close out the game, and Roki, I think he's figuring this closer thing out, because
Mm-hmm.
instead of just coming in and getting 3 outs, he went ahead and gave up a single to start,
Yeah,
to make it feel like, like he's dangling the carrot in front of him,
that's
like,
right.
hoo-hoo.
Yeah.
and make them think that maybe what happened in the first game of the series
So you're
could
saying there's a
happen.
chance.
Right. and no, there was not. Roki
No.
would then get the next three force a couple of fly balls and a ground out, and that would be the end of the game. And then, like you do when you win any level of this, you hold on to the ball and you run in and you celebrate because that's the game-winning ball. You just won the National League Championship. Or if you're the Dodgers and your name is Andy Pages, you just turn around and throw it in the stands like it's game 110, you
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. I've heard some people, and I obviously I have no idea, but Andy Paez, did he just forget what what happened? Like you said, it was just a regular game, or is he just kind of not the sharpest and was like, oh, I just throw this ball because why not? I
It
think
was
a
the end of the
kid
game. I
was
don't think
really
he even
happy.
thought about it. Maybe he didn't
No,
even
I
think
don't.
realize it was the bottom of the ninth. I don't know.
I That's what I see. That's what I was thinking. I thought, I don't think he knows that the game is done. And that would be two times where he ends up getting the winning hit, right? Cuz and broken bat, and then in against the Phillies, and then in this one he catches, get catches the ball
The
for the
final
final
out.
out, and he's like, "Ah, we're done." And then it's like, "Oh, they're running out." And they, even though they run out, but they still do their line.
Yeah,
Um
there
but
wasn't the same celebration that you saw, especially with the American League series.
well, I think
Um,
too with the Phillies, I think because of the way that game ended, ending that series, it was like, we can't believe we just won this game, and they
right.
just were running out. It
Yeah.
wasn't. And so I think in this one is like we swept, and they have. It's not the first time that the Dodgers have done where it's okay, because they did it last year. Okay,
Right.
we won the game. High five, high five. We got to go. We're
Yeah.
back.
And now they
They're very
did go
focused.
in. They did celebrate,
Yeah,
and
they,
at
of
that point
course.
too, they knew they could celebrate because
Hmm.
regardless of what happens in the American League championship series, even if even if one team sweeps the other one in that series, it's still going to be a week before
Yeah,
the World
it's
Series
not like
starts. They
the
won on the
ML.
Friday night. It's not going to happen again until the 24th.
Right.
And at that point, the only thing that they're waiting on now is who and are they traveling
Hmm.
or
They're
staying
staying
at
home.
home? Because
So,
one team will do that, the other team they got to go to.
um, no surprise here, but being able to do it in one game, Shohei Ohtani, 3 for 3, one walk, obviously 3 home runs, is the National League Championship Series MVP.
Yes.
Even though there were other guys that had, 11 RBIs or, whatever throughout the series. I don't
Right.
know, but he did it in one
But nobody
game.
struck out 10 and hit 3 home runs.
Right. And hit
That
three
was
home runs.
but
I think it was later, after they've been in this waiting period, that trophy, his MVP trophy, is in the clubhouse, in the middle of the clubhouse, but it has a placard over, where his name is, and it says team effort.
and he said that when
Hmm.
he accepted the award
Yes.
was that this was not me, this was the team. And I was listening to what's his name, Clayton McCullough,
Mm-hmm.
the first base coach on MLB radio. It's Clayton, or is it what's McCullough? Oh no, that's the old first
Oh
base
no,
coach.
yeah,
Chris
he's the
Woodward.
Chris
Chris
Woodward. Yeah,
Woodward.
he's
Yeah, Clayton
yeah
McCullough is the Marlins manager now.
manager now.
Um,
Yeah.
Chris Woodward said, because they asked him about a couple things, and they said um, that he said it's not just about what Shohei does on the field. There's not a better human being. It's the way that
Mm-hmm.
he goes about all of this. Yes, it's incredible, those things, but it's also just how how courteous he is to everyone. You
Well,
know,
even I think it was. I don't remember when he was pitching. I don't remember which brewer it was, but it fouled off of his ankle area.
yeah, right off of his ankle or his
And
leg, lower leg.
and Shohei was like, "Oh," like
Yeah.
almost like he had done it, even though he didn't
Yeah,
do it.
I was like, "What are
I
you upset
know.
about, Shohei?" But I remember seeing that. But there's little things that you notice that he at the first time he goes up, and actually almost every time he goes up, he tips his hat to the opposing manager.
Always, except
You
for
know,
the Padres.
for like except for the dregs,
Yeah.
and you saw him do that. He doesn't it's
Well,
just the way that he goes about playing the game, and I think
mhm.
that's the thing. Um, I can hear the gin blossoms now. Hey, jealousy is that all these people who are constantly trying to tear him down are they're jealous he doesn't play for their team. He's
Yeah.
jealous that he is a a a quality human being
Mhm.
that has so many traits that many of us wish we had,
Mhm.
or could be in the same limelight as him and
Well,
be as magnanimous as he is.
yeah, and it's interesting. There were pictures or video. The Dodgers usually will take, you know, their social media staff will take video or pictures of the players coming in, from the parking lot. That day before the game, he's pushing a baby stroller. A decoy, which I loved, was sitting at the bottom of the stroller. His wife is walking with him. It's like they're out for a stroll. And then he goes in and strikes out 10 and hits 3 home runs. And then the other thing that a lot of people, the jealousy, that group, well, why doesn't he, he speaks English. Why doesn't he do interviews in English? And he said the reason that he doesn't is because um, he's Japanese and he wants to still have that connection with the Japanese people so they can understand him. Because
Right.
maybe there would be, if he was just, I'm just going to talk in English. Well, they're not going to translate it
Right. Things get
into
lost in
Japanese.
translation
Yeah.
sometimes. The
Mm-hmm.
nuances. I've learned that. That it's the way sometimes that something is said. You
Yes.
may know how to say it correctly in whatever language, but there is a context to it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so if
Um,
you had, go ahead.
I was going to say the Brewers had the lowest batting average in a playoff series of at least 3 games in history, 118. And we have already mentioned that they had 1 run for each game. So,
Right. It was not good for them. They were just average Joes. How could they compete? So they set up an excuse there. The other thing that came out from Pat Murphy was they were emotionally exhausted after the Cubs series. Now I know you went 5 with them,
mhm.
and I know the Cubs are a rival just down the road.
Yeah,
But come on.
I
No
didn't. Yeah,
excuses. You guys
that
got
I
to
was
just
like,
say, you know
no.
what, we ran into a different team this
I
time
think it was
than we did during the season.
it was a buzzsaw that they
You
ran
know,
into. And yes, it was, I had mentioned this before. I felt like, yes, they swept the Dodgers, but the team that they were going to play was a different team, is a different team.
Right.
And they found that out.
So the Dodgers, at this point, now that they've won, they're hanging out. They're ready. They're getting ready to take on whoever comes next between the Blue Jays and the Mariners, and they're going to have a little bit of a wait there as this one goes 7 full.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, honestly, I don't know. Interesting enough, what?
Well, I think in this first game, right out, I mean, it's in Mariners traveled to Toronto and like smacked them. The Mariners smacked the Blue Jays 10-3. And I was like, they're not wasting any time.
Game 1 was 3-1.
Oh, sorry. I'm so off. I'm sorry.
And then in game 2,
yeah, game 2. Sorry.
They met up against the rookie sensation Yesevich.
Yeah.
And this is a kid who has pitched in every level, single A, double A, triple A. And now he's going to pitch, he's pitching in the playoffs.
Well, and he had a really good outing in the division series.
He did. And so the Mariners, though, didn't care. And they win the second game 10-3 to head home up 2-0. And you're thinking, this is prime for a sweep as well. And I got to thinking, was the series between the Blue Jays and the Yankees, was that their World Series? Was that like, when the Dodgers and the Padres only want to beat the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
They can't beat anybody else, or they don't beat anybody else when it really matters.
Right.
And I thought, is that what happened with the Blue Jays? They got so overhyped that they took the Yankees out, that they are, not, I mean, it just didn't,
well, and there was also talk about how the Mariners were going to play because they had that 15-inning game. And then they had to go, and that was a Friday night, right? Then they travel, play on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So for the 3-1 game, but they, beat them 3-1 and then come out the next night and then smack them 10-3. 3 home runs.
Maybe the Blue Jays weren't quite ready for what was going to happen. And maybe it's a wake-up call. They send in game 3, they would send Shane Bieber to the mound to take on George Kirby, and reversal of fortune.
Mm-hmm.
The Blue Jays, and you got to say, from this point on, and even before, but the Blue Jays were really led by their superstar.
Yeah.
In Vladdy Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Vladdy Jr. was, he was hitting a lot, and they've got some hitters. They got some guys that were, that they all stepped up. You never knew where it was coming from, and there was questions about players who weren't on the team. Now, what would this team be like if, like, Bo Bichette was there?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like they turned it around 13-4 in that game. Game 4, they put it to them again with an 8-2 victory, and surprisingly, Max Scherzer gets the win in that one, or as Yesevich calls him, Grandpa Scherzer.
Well, and in that game when Schneider was going to come and take him out, he was like mad. And we've seen this before. Like when he was on the Dodgers, and he pitched against the Giants, but I think it was in relief.
Yeah.
And he was screaming in Dave Roberts' face. And Dave Roberts looks like, when your head's back and it's like the wind from his like spit coming. It's funny
No,
picture,
that's the
but
only time that he got mad about staying in the game with the Dodgers. After that, he just didn't want to be. He was screaming to get out of the game.
yeah, well, he is like, "Don't put me in. My arm is
No,
dead."
I got dead arm.
Um,
Well, he pitched. He pitched his one game, and was able to pick up the victory there over
but
Luis
in this game,
Castillo.
um, the funny thing is, just going back to that, is Schneider said in his post game interview that he had been waiting for him to scream at him all season. Like, I've been
Nice.
waiting for this moment, and now I got it.
Then he got
But
it.
yeah, you think Luis Castillo has been, had been pretty good for the Mariners, but the Blue Jays had a 5-run third inning with the first of 5 home runs in that that started that.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's a tough one to lose 13-4 at home.
Yeah, and then 8-2 the next
And then
night,
8.
and then
And that was the thing is you go to Toronto. You're playing in the Rogers Center. Um you have all the momentum. You have it all. And then you go home and you just fall apart. I mean, really, they scored 6 6 runs in the 2 losses, and then they scored 6 runs in the win. Because they had to win 1, but really they needed to win. I think they needed to win 2
yeah, they
in
needed to
at
win
home.
at home, and
They needed to win
especially
3, but
it's they need yeah they needed to, well they just needed the 2 at home,
yeah.
and and they would have been, that would have ended it, but instead they do win the last game, the game 5, because it was a 2-3-2 series.
Mhm.
So they take out the Blue Jays 6-2 before heading back to Toronto, and pretty much by the end of this, I'm pretty much thinking they wish they would have just stayed in Seattle. Um,
Yeah.
Toronto would Yesevich would turn it around, and this time come out on the winning end. The Blue Jays would win that one 6-2, and then in what I would call a scripted moment, the the Mariners are 9 outs away, say even outs away from going to their very first World Series. And they're talking about how George Springer has not really had a playoff moment or his true Blue Jay moment.
Mhm.
And with 2 on, and this will bring up a couple of other things, but with 2 on, he hits a home run and puts the Blue Jays up 4-3 in the bottom of the 7th. And the question is, why did the Mariners not pitch Munoz?
Yeah. I mean,
They said
that
he
I
was
think
tired
yeah,
or
but
that
I
he had
think
been used, and I just don't get it. It's an
mm-mm.
elimination game. It's game 7. There is no
Y-
tomorrow.
yeah, you're deploying all of your arms what you can, what you need. And they should all be ready regardless.
Right.
But in this bottom of the 7th, Brian Wu is pitching and um Addison Barger walks. Isaiah Kiner falafel singles. Um and then there's a sacrifice bunt to Brian Wu. So I guess what I'm getting at is there's 1 out. There's 2 guys on, but why didn't was there something they saw in Wu that was like, we need to make a pitching change? Why didn't they let him get through that inning? There was, um Addison Barger was on third. Iser Kiner Falafel was on second. At this point, there's one out. They changed pitchers to Edward Bastardo.
Bizardo, yeah.
Yeah, and he throws a pitch pretty much down the middle, and George Springer hits that home run.
Right.
I wondered what was it that they saw in Brian. Well, I know he had been injured, and he'd been injured during the season. Was there something they saw and we're like, we got to pull him? Because I feel like we don't know. I mean, he could have very well given up the home run to Springer, but he could have also gotten out of that inning.
Right.
And then it would be very different it could be a very different outcome.
Yeah. I mean, there's that. I've heard people say that he shouldn't have even pitched the second inning of the two that he pitched. I've heard
Oh,
that too. And then, but still, at that point, why isn't Andres Munoz coming in
well,
the
and
highest
that's the other
leverage
question.
situation?
Yes.
Munoz only gave up 2 home runs all season.
Yes.
Not that he wouldn't have still given up because maybe it was scripted.
But if they're saying the team is saying he's tired or Munoz is saying he's tired,
that I didn't
and
hear.
if then he's, to me, I don't see a player in the position, unless you're Max Scherzer, but being in this position to have your team go to their first World Series ever, to have this chance to be, to keep it going, and you say, I'm going to pass.
Well, he still comes in and pitches the final inning.
Right, but
or the 8th, the bottom of the 8th, but yeah, why wasn't
but
he
the
in there
offense didn't.
before?
Right. It's not like, like, oh, sorry, he can only pitch this during this
They
inning.
didn't give him the Mariners, and then I heard more about their roster construction was there was some holes in it that was like, why did you have 2 catchers on the bench? You can't, there wasn't a lot of leeway. And not that they lost because of that, but there was a lot of
Yeah.
options that they needed to have at the end, and they didn't do it. And I think some of that probably has to do with the inexperience of this team as far as the playoffs go.
Yeah.
Jerry DiPoto hasn't ever built a playoff roster that I know of, except maybe with the Mets. But even then, what do you have? And they fell apart. And the George Springer gets his moment, his Blue Jay moment. Like I said, as if it was scripted. Vladdy Jr. is the ALCS MVP. And now,
yeah, and in the first 2 games of the series, he was 0 for 7, and then he ends up winning the MVP. He had a 385 batting average, a 1.330 OPS, and then 3 home runs to help his team. But that just shows you, how baseball can turn.
Right.
Where
and
you're
how
0 for 7.
Just like with Shohei, you can't ever think that they're out unless they're fully out. Last year, I think there was a point in time where Shohei was still playing, but maybe you could say when he separated his shoulder that he wasn't the same guy.
Right.
But in this case, you can't count him out. And both those guys came through for their teams, became the MVPs. And now, I mean, from the one standpoint, we were going to see if the regular season was like the like you said, playoffs are different than the regular season. We were going to see that if they played the Mariners, because to finish the season, the last 3 games of the season, the Dodgers swept. Now, was that just because Seattle didn't really have anything to play for at that point? Was it because the Dodgers were getting into the mode that they were getting into playoff mode?
Yeah.
Who knows? We would have seen, and a lot of people would have rather seen that. And of course, the team that you think you can just run over is the team you want to play when it's your
Yeah.
team playing. If you don't care either way, Dave Stewart, great pitcher for the Dodgers, was part of their '81 team. Was part of the Mariners. I mean, part of the Blue Jays in '93 when they won the
Hmm.
World Series. Was part of the A's when they won World Series. He said, and I could see it. They asked him what who he was rooting for. He said, I don't know one way or the other. I just hope that it's, it goes 7 games and it's the best baseball. When it's not your team, you just want the best possible series, and 7 games,
Yeah.
that's great. When it's your team, you want them to sweep.
Yeah.
On the way it looks, the one thing that you'd want to see is you want to see you'd rather see the Dodgers play the Mariners. And I would think the Mariners didn't have any choice, but I think the Mariners probably would have rather seen the Brewers. But they'd also probably, most Mariners fans, I think, would say, yeah, bring on the Dodgers. So that way when we win the World Series, we could say we beat the best team.
Yeah.
We could say we stopped the Dodgers from ruining baseball, which we
That's
didn't
right.
mention, but in the celebration afterwards, Dave Roberts said, let's win 4 more and completely ruin baseball.
Yeah. So we can really ruin it.
That's right.
And then after the next day, because that game was on a Friday, Saturday was awesome on Twitter. I mean, that the things that were coming out, it was so great. But yeah, and that's something we can talk about in the after. I think we'll talk about after the World Series, but because I have some thoughts
Okay.
on those on those.
So
But we're gonna be World Series centric here.
yes, so the Dodgers and the Blue Jays will start off in Toronto, 2 there, 3 back in LA, and then if needed, 2 more in Toronto. So it's going to be pretty interesting, and of course, everybody coming out that you know who in the U.S. is rooting for who they're rooting for. Everybody, it's the U.S. We're rooting for the Dodgers. I don't think that's true.
No, I saw I saw a thing where the betting companies or whatever that they've gone through and they've looked at tweets, social media, what people are talking about. 4 states will be rooting for the Dodgers: California, Utah, um, I want to say Arizona, and I think Hawaii, I think, was one of them.
Mm.
Which was, I mean, like, okay, those are. And then the rest, everybody else is rooting for Toronto.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like, what? That doesn't even, to me, that's silly.
And
Um,
I think that we need to call out to the Nova Scotian mafia and tell them to
yeah.
stand down so
Yes.
that they don't feel so that the Schneider doesn't feel like that they're breathing down his neck,
Right.
and maybe he'll relax and they'll relax. I think it's going to be a good series. The matchups are better as far as like from that standpoint. You've
Mm-hmm.
got, um, I mean, obviously with the Mariners, you had a lot of players that could do something, but you only had like 3 players that could really do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, J. Rod, Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, and maybe Jorge Polanco. Um,
Yeah. And then I would throw in Suarez just
oh, and
sometimes.
yeah, Eugenio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget about him sometimes, but those guys, everybody else, I mean, things can happen, but they're not there's more going on with the Blue Jays. Pitching wise, who knows
Yeah, pitching
what?
wise will be interesting because you've got they have more right-handed.
Yeah, just
Oh,
about everybody, starter
yeah,
wise, is right-handed,
s-
and
right.
that was something I noticed too. I sent it to you. Shane Bieber channeling 1993 Dave Stieb, with the same looking mustache. Um,
Yeah.
he was there. I know that they're going to be, trying to play a lot onto that. Let's be
Mm-hmm.
that team. Let's come back. We're playing the best. Pitching wise, this will probably be next to the Phillies the best set of pitchers. They definitely didn't have a challenge comparatively with the pitching, of the Brewers pitching. I
Right.
think the
Um,
Brewers pitching was in disarray.
yes. So I just want to correct myself that the 4 states routing is not Arizona. So California, Hawaii, Nevada, Utah, and then all other states, like I said, are. So it was betonline.ag. They've analyzed tweets, hashtags, direct keyword phrases about whom fans are rooting for. And on X, on Twitter, 92% of fans are rooting for Toronto. So once again, the Dodgers are the underdogs.
I don't
Just
think
as
they were
they,
underdogs on the line, but definitely
no,
in the
not on the
rooting.
line.
Yeah,
I think we should mention, so that was from Houston Mitchell's um, newsletter that he sends out, usually Dodgers
about
Dugout,
twice a week.
twice a week. If you're a Dodgers fan and you're not subscribed to it, you need to subscribe to it. I look forward to it. And but he said that he was hoping for Seattle because they'd never been to a World Series. Um, but a lot of talk is, and as you've mentioned, the days off because the Dodgers played in the wild card. Then they were right. They've been play. And as Freddie Freeman has said, they like, you're a ball player. All ball players want to continue to play because you're so used to playing every day. But the Dodgers had a bye last year. That seemed to work out okay for them. But there's some stats that he did throw out. It's a small sample size, but there have been 4 times one league's championship series went 7 games and the other leagues went 4 games, giving them much more time off before the World Series. So he references, I think there was 4 World Series or 3, but 1988, the Dodgers defeat the Mets 4-3. So that went 7. The A's defeated the Red Sox. They swept them. Dodgers defeat the A's. And that, of course, one thing that he does mention is, was it rust or was it more so because they ran up against a pitching staff led by Oral Hershiser, who was amazing.
Right.
Um,
Those are the things that you got to wonder is, what was it about that team?
yeah,
You're talking about that. The next time, 2006, Cardinals and Mets go to 7. Cardinals win. Tigers sweep the A's. Cardinals beat the Tigers.
right,
Um, and then here's the one that I alluded to earlier.
right.
2007, the Rockies defeat the Diamondbacks, sweep them. The Red Sox and Indians and Cleveland go to 7, and the Sox take out the Rockies in their only World Series appearance. So they have something that the Mariners still don't have.
Yeah. And then in 2012, the Giants defeat the Cardinals in 7. Tigers beat the Yankees in 4. The Giants defeat the Tigers in a sweep.
So now, will the trend continue, or will the Dodgers be able to buck that trend? Blake Snell will be on the hill to start the World Series. with Yoshinobu. Yep.
I know. I need
See,
to practice
I
that.
looked at you before I said it. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have done
No,
that.
don't look at me. You won't say it right.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto is going to be going in game 2. Probably the same setup before Tyler Glass now in 3, Shohei in 4, and then we'll restart it depending on what's going on.
Yeah.
Um,
And I don't think that so the Blue Jays have not announced a starter. So I'm wondering if they'll go with I'm wondering if they'll go with Gosman as their
I would think Gosman first, and
Mhm.
then Gosman, and then they'll probably go with either Yesevich, their rookie, would either be
Mhm.
second or third.
Yeah.
And then Bieber's going to play in there somewhere because he's pitched
Yeah.
well for them.
Mhm.
Coming off of the Tommy John surgeries that he's had. So
Now,
yeah,
Bo Bichette, who was not on the Division Series or the Championship Series roster, says that he is planning on being the World Series roster. He's been on the IL and and of the regular season. I was thinking it was a hamstring, but it wasn't. It was a knee injury. So I don't
right. Yeah,
know.
back in early September, he had that knee injury. The
Yeah.
thing that I thought initially was, yeah, he's somebody that you'd probably want back. He's probably their best hitter at least this season overall. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but do you want to mess with what you have?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, not to say that he might not just come in there and be like the World Series hero
Right.
for him, but who's been playing shortstop? Um, Jimenez has been playing shortstop, so and I think that during the season, Jimenez was playing second base. But would you take Ernie Clement, who batted like 500 throughout the playoffs so far, or something like that? Who has
Mm-hmm.
been that? Would you take him out from the starter spot so that you could bring in Bo Bichette when you're not sure where he's going to be? And
Right.
I don't know. I would say, Bo, just take your ring when the time comes. Just like we know Buddy Kennedy will, because he played for both the Dodgers and the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and he had played for the Phillies, so if the Phillies, if it had turned out differently, anyway, he was gonna
Well, years
have
ago,
a chance.
Benji Molina played for the Rangers. I don't remember if it was 2010 or 2011. 2010 had to be 2010 for the Rangers for half the season, and then went to the Giants for the rest of the season. Then they
Oh,
met in
yeah.
the World Series, and the Giants won, so
Mhm.
he got a ring either way too.
Yeah.
So anyway, uh, just accept that the team this time didn't need you, and be ready for next season. I think
Yeah.
the same thing that the Dodgers need to do with like Tanner Scott.
Yes.
Tanner, obviously there was something going on with you. He wants to come in and pitch. The Dodgers, we haven't seen the uh, the postseason or the World Series roster yet. They said
Mhm.
Doc said, I got one spot we're discussing. I think he just needs to say, okay, you're done. They just need to say, give it a try next season. We we
Yeah.
we brought you here. We want you to be part of this. Let's do it next season. I think that Michael Conforto, who's not been part of any of them, we haven't needed you.
Mhm.
We still don't need you.
Yeah.
Justin Dean will never see an at bat in the World Series unless they're blowing somebody out, but he is there to run, and he is a
Yeah.
good defensive player.
And it's the same thing with Kim, a
Yeah,
runner.
I mean, I would bat Kim before I would bat Justin
Oh,
Dean,
yeah.
but yeah, it's like, sorry, we just don't need you. It's could he do something? Maybe, But at this point, we don't really need to take that chance.
There was a post and by one of I don't remember if it was a Dodgers page, and they had tweeted out, about him. And I think it was John Heyman that was saying, well, he'd have to be cleared by a doctor. It was one of the writers had said that. And in the comments, people were like, well, I'm a doctor. And I say no,
Right. I cannot, in good conscience, agree
allow
to
him.
this.
Yeah.
Allow this.
To happen. Yeah. I just thought that was really
Yeah,
funny.
I don't think it's worth the shot. Not that, I mean, he may very well, any of these guys could come in and just be the hero
Mm-hmm.
because it happens. But is it
Yeah.
worth? And who doesn't end up on the? Who do you have to take off of the off of their off of the roster to allow Conforto or allow Tanner Scott, or for the Blue Jays, who comes off to allow for Bo Bichette? And
Right.
even if they do you mess with the chemistry on the field now, and Bo sits on the bench and comes off as a switch hitter? And what if he hurts himself? I mean, yes, you
Yeah.
can replace him, but then it was like, we could have avoided this. Just,
Yeah.
you're going to get a ring. You're going to get a World Series share. You're a big part of our team. So I this time I don't think it's going to be a sweep because I think the Blue Jays are just too good.
Yeah.
But and I'm going to do what I said last time was cowardly. But I think they split in Toronto, and then the Dodgers come back, and the Dodgers aren't going to want to leave. And they're not going to want to take a chance of it going back to Toronto. So
Yeah.
they will win it at home in the 5 that I was so cowardly do. I got to give
Well, and
Toronto's going to win at least one.
I knew that you would ask me this, and you know how much I don't like predictions. I always say that because I don't. Obviously, Dodgers, but I was going back and forth 5, 6, and 5 as well.
Okay.
And
this,
but I want to say, I got to get this out here. Since George Springer hit that go-ahead home run, now there's MLB, Yahoo Sports, some others that are like, George Springer knows what it's like to face the Dodgers in a World Series. Yeah, in a World Series that he cheated in.
Yeah. He was
So
one of the
everything
top 3 in
yes.
using the trash can.
Yes. So everything he did is null and void. So no, he does not know what it's like to face the Dodgers in a World Series.
And is that even fair? It's not like he faced them last year.
Right.
It's been what, 6 years, 8 years?
8 years.
2017. Different team, different players. A couple of guys that were there then are still here. It's a different team.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. It'll be an interesting series. I just think that the Dodgers have to do to the Blue Jays what they did. I mean, to Blue Jays what they did to the Brewers. They can't mess around with this.
No, they have got to be on.
The Blue Jays will come back and make them regret
that.
And the Blue Jays, unlike we saw with the Dodgers a lot during the season where they would beat themselves.
Yes.
The Blue Jays don't do that.
No.
You either beat them or they thump you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Dodgers did win the season series of the 3 games, 2-1. But once again, that was then.
And this is the
now.
postseason.
And that'll put a wrap on this episode of the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast as we head into the World Series. Thanks. This one was a little longer than normal, but we had all the manager talk at the beginning. A lot of Dodger talk, even though for 4 games, there was a lot that happened there to be inspired by. And even with the Blue Jays Mariners, it's going to be a great World Series. We will see you on the other side of that whenever it is. What did you say the last day of the World Series could be?
I think it's November 1st.
Yeah, potentially a Game 7 in Toronto could happen on November 1st. So we'll see. We'll talk to you sometime after the end of the World Series, whether it be a sweep, whether it goes all 7 or somewhere in between. We know there'll be at least 4 games, and it all starts on Friday the 24th.
On Fox.
All games will be at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock here on the West Coast. Make sure you check us out on our social media, X or Twitter, as I prefer. Blue Sky Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
Website is siblingrivalrybb.com, and regardless of who wins the World Series, you'll be able to get all their World Series, World Champion gear through our link there at the top of our webpage, siblingrivalrybb.com, and then hit the Fanatics link. So buckle up. This has the makings of a great series. Obviously, Dodger fans hope it is a sweep, just like Blue Jays fans do. We'll see. My hope is that by the end of this, I have no problems with the Blue Jays. Chances are, if they were playing any other National League team, I would probably be rooting for them as well. But I also didn't have a problem with the Astros before the World Series of 2017. So we'll see. Make sure you tune in and then check in with us and then watch our social media. We may have some stuff to share as we go. Whatever you do, don't miss out on great playoff baseball. The World Series is going to be great, and never forget to swing away.